Let's first get your reaction to Black Monday and today. What would you call today if you had to give it a title?
Today, I think it was relatively Happy Tuesday, everything being relative. Last night I was at dinner with the son of Margaret Thatcher, and she was there, and a bunch of business CEOs, and the betting among two of the biggest. David Murdoch, one of our top of our richest list, said he'd been buying all day Monday, and they had a bet. He bet that the market would be down 300 today. The other gentleman, Jay Pritzker of Hyatt Hotels, and another very high in the middle, bet it wouldn't be down more than 100.
Did
well,
you
it
get
was
involved
up
in the
100.
action?
Nope. I listen when these fellows are making bets, but it was up 100. Sure, there were more stocks down than not. I don't see, as I observed last night, after all, it could only go down 3 more days at the rate it went down Monday, and then everything would be zero, and we'd begin all over again. But seriously, I think the extent of the plunge, the enormity of it, is almost unreal. It's like a nightmare if you're not leveraged and aren't over the barrel. It's not something that by the time you comprehend it, it's behind us. There are buys out there. Literally today, our own company with investment and pension funds bought things like IBM and ATT, and 32 companies announced today that they're buying in their own stock. Several of the presidents of companies there last night said, these are bargain prices. We're glad to be able to retire the stock and up the earnings at these prices. The plunge was overdone.
Now, the $500 billion loss in value of the stocks Monday has got to have affected your sizable fortune. If so, how much did it affect your fortune?
Well, it only affected if I was negotiating to, say, sell Forbes magazine, which I wasn't and am not, except for $3.50 a copy on the newsstands. So we have no loss. It's just if we wanted to sell, we wouldn't get as much today as we would then. But there's no question. People feel a lot poorer when you have an erosion, if you will, of stocks at that enormous magnitude. But the real concern is not people and funds in the market. It's what the psychology that the average person has. Are they not going to go to the movies tonight? Are they not going to buy the winter overcoat they'd planned on? Are they panicked? I don't think by the time the average person who isn't really in and out of the market as a trader, by the time they sort of become nervous about this, jobs aren't stopping, record earnings are reported in today's papers, third quarters have been wonderful. I think the recovery will be quick. I think what we had is a solar plexus, and a lot of people are out of wind, but it's not lethal.
As America's favorite capitalist, what type of advice would you give the little guy?
If you're not out, it's too late. And if you got out at a loss, you're one of the few that took it, other than the very big fellows. There had to be a buyer for those 600 million shares yesterday and on Tuesday. If you're not out, it's too late, and stay in. You can't be wrong. And if you have money, seriously, I think you could do well to start to invest some of it.
You're quite the optimist.
Listen, nobody has ever been long right pessimistic about the essential ingredients of this country. People aren't working less. People in this country aren't not entrepreneuring less. They're not less ambitious. They don't have less things that they want. The ingredients are all here. The guys over the barrel are the rampant speculators, the leveraged buyout guys, the artisans of manipulating on borrowed money. Now, they got a problem, but that does not constitute the gut of American investment and America's business future.
But what about our country's problems, the deficit and all the like, that have been used as explanations for what happened on Monday?
The country's problems are greater than they were as a result of this decline, but I think the feeling of panic is rapidly abating. What happened in today's market is an indication. It wasn't down 100, it wasn't down 200, it wasn't down 300, it was up 100. It doesn't mean it won't be down another 200 maybe in 3 or 4 days, but basically I think we'll have a leveling off, because if you have money, and a lot of people have some money that they've not invested, and not only individuals, but there's a lot of corporate money that's being used now to buy in some of their stocks. This is, seriously, it's a sensible time with major blue chips to be investing in them. There really is nothing wrong. What you had was a run-up for 7 years, basically an up, and people have been predicting a drop. Nobody predicted this, and all these people are going to come out of the woodwork and say, we told you, we told you. Nobody could have foreseen what happened, and it's as much the fault of the computer as a lot of other things once it starts to that degree. They're all computer programmed, and all these pension funds and everything, they're dumping.
So the big
at the
blocks
wrong time.
of
Big blocks come out,
stocks
and
being
they
sold.
have to find buyers at a time when people are waiting for the dust to settle. Well, somebody bought all those shares at a bargain price on Monday.
But I must shift back to the personal, because
Sure.
we are interested in that. Your fortune is based more on just your publication. You have investments. You had to have seen a drop in those investments.
Sure, but since
Are we
I'm not
talking-
planning to sell them, you don't have a loss until you sell, and I'm not selling.
But the loss on paper amounts to how much?
Oh, I'm less solvent than I was, but my Lord, I'll eat tonight. I can buy a hamburger. No, it's seriously, you feel less maybe extravagant than you might have felt, but it's not a serious problem. If anybody that doesn't need the money that they might have in the stock market, then it's silly to sell. The value of most of what they own will gradually return. This country, discounting this country in the long term, anybody that's ever done it has been wrong and lost money.
So you're predicting a return past what?
Oh, I think by the end of the year, the stock market will have recovered at least half of the losses it's undergone, 700 points in 8 days. It will have recovered at least half, and maybe actually be about back to somewhere where it was by the first of the year.